morning students. Today we are going to separate sugars or carbohydrates by using thin layer chromatography. Basically this thin layer chromatography work on the basic principle of adsorption, where thin layer of a silica act as a stationary phase while mobile phase which you are using in a chromatographic chamber act as a mobile phase. Now we are going to see what are the different steps of performing TLC of sugars. So these are the steps. First step is preparation of plates. We are going to coat the plate with silica gel layer. That is not preparation of plate. Second is activation of a plate. We are going to keep this plate into the oven for 110 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes as an activation. Then chromatographic chamber saturation. Here whatever mobile phase we are using, you are supposed to keep into the chamber and close that chamber for particular period of time. For that process is known as chamber saturation. Then we are supposed to apply the sample on the TLC plate. Then development of the chromatogram, you keep the plate into the chromatographic chamber and allow the mobile phase to run onto the plate. That is what development of chromatogram. And after that you are supposed to spray it with the visualizing agent and keep again into the oven or whatever may be the prescribed procedure till the visualization or colored spots of the sample appear. Okay. For sugar analysis or carbohydrate analysis, we are going to use a mobile phase, that is ethyl acetate, isopropanol, water and pyridine in a proportion of 26:14:7:2. You can minimize this or maximize it depending upon the chamber capacity. Now the visualizing agent today we are going to use is anisaldehyde sulfuric acid reagent. I am referring for this experiment Egon Stahl as a book. If you refer another book, another mobile phase and visualizing reagent, you come to know. Now the adsorbent material we are using here is silica gel G in 0.2 molar sodium acetate. Now these sugars or carbohydrate, as you know, contains many hydroxyl groups. Because of this it is highly polar. And silica gel which we are using, which also have a silanol group, which is also polar. Because of it, what happened during the separation, separation of a carbohydrate is retarded, and hence it is necessary to minimize the activity of it. For this purpose, we are using 0.2 molar sodium acetate as a buffer to minimize or to decrease the activity and to increase the separation and movement of a mobile phase on the TLC plate. Now we are going to see how to prepare the first step, preparation of a plate. For this preparation of a plate, in mortar and pestle, I am using mortar and pestle for trituration of the silica. So here I am using silica gel G for TLC. This G stands for gypsum, which act as a binder. So your silica should bind on a glass plate, so it needs a binder. There are many types of silica like silica gel GF, which contains fluorescing agent. Also you have silica gel H without binder. Whenever you do not want silica to bind on the plate, you can use silica gel H also. Today we are using silica gel G, that is gypsum, which contains a binder. Gypsum is a binder. Okay. So now I have taken the silica powder and sodium acetate solution 0.2 molar and I have added into it. Now I am going to triturate it so that it creates a lump-free slurry. So this is what preparation of a slurry for a TLC plate preparation. Slurry should be not much thick or very thin, depending upon the slurry's viscosity, the layer thickness of the plate is decided. So depending on that, you are supposed to do. If you take a viscous layer or viscous slurry, the layer form on a TLC plate will be very thick. If you want a thin, then slurry should be less viscous. Now our slurry is okay, and I am going to pour this . into the beaker, because I am preparing my plates by using a method known as pouring. There are different methods like dipping, spreading. Different mechanical spreaders are available to spread and have a uniform layer on the TLC plate. Today we are going to do it by using pouring method. Now I am going to pour it from the top of the slide TLC plate to have a uniform layer of silica gel. Like this, you are supposed to pour it onto it. Okay, and now I will keep this plate into the oven for activation. You can prepare 1 or 2 slides extra, because during handling sometimes may happen that that coating gets removed. So always prepare 1 or 2 layers extra. Now these plates are ready. Now I am going to keep these plates into the oven for activation purpose. So I am going to keep these plates into the oven for activation for 110 degrees Celsius for around 30 minutes. So you should keep watch on a time you kept the plate in the oven for activation, because it is important, because activation time is also hampers or affects the separation of a component. So always note down what is the time of activation of your plate. Now next step is chamber saturation. I have taken the mobile phase, which I have already told you. The mobile phase, it consists of ethyl acetate, isopropanol, water and pyridine. I have kept in a proportion. So while making mobile phase, always remember the exact proportion of the mobile phase component should be taken and in the same sequence. You are not supposed to change the sequence of addition of a solvent into the chamber. Once you add all the solvent, I have added all the solvents in their proper proportion, then I will mix it well and I will check whether 2 layers of the mobile phase are formed. If are not, it is expected that it should be a single layer mobile phase. Then I will, as soon as it is added, then I will keep a lid onto it. This is a lid, or you can use aluminum foil for closing it. You should keep this chromatographic chamber airtight, so that whatever mobile phase volatile solvents are there in a mobile phase, its vapors occupy the surrounding inside of the chamber. That is what chamber saturation. So I will keep this chamber for saturation for around 30 minutes. And I will suggest you to write down or report the time of chamber saturation also, because it is again a parameter which affects the separation of your component. So activation of plate, time for the activation of plate and chamber saturation time should be reported by each chemist. Now, after activation of the plate, these plates are necessarily to kept into the desiccator. Desiccator consists of a glass chamber, and at the bottom drying agents are kept. Generally used drying agents are calcium chloride, dried calcium chloride or silica. You can use this calcium chloride or silica by keeping it into the oven for 110 degrees Celsius for 2 hours, and after drying keep into the desiccator, and then your TLC plate should be kept for cooling in this desiccator. Why? Because activation is the procedure where we want to remove the solvent used for the slurry. Generally we use water mixture with acetone or with the methanol. So this slurry contains most of the moisture and we want to remove the moisture from the slurry. That is what activation. When we keep this into the oven for 110 degrees Celsius, the water is get removed from. Now plates are cool. I have kept it for cooling. You can check it by touching the plates. And once the plates are cool, you can remove these two plates outside of the desiccator, and you can now apply the sample on it. These are the plates ready to apply the sample. These are thin layer plates. In a market, ready-made plates are also available, which are coated on aluminum foil. The advantage of using ready-made plates is these are known as pre-coated plates. The advantage of using pre-coated plate is you can have a uniform layer and uniform separation. The resolution between the components is enhanced, and also the separation is also enhanced. And the repetitive or reproducible results appear if you use the same uniform layer of silicon. Now I am going to apply the sample on it. So for this purpose, on this TLC plate, I am going to apply the sample. So I will keep some distance around 1.5 centimeter distance. I will leave from the bottom, and then I will pour the sample. So you should be careful about application of a sample and handling of the TLC plate. So I am using only one now. So now I am applying samples, sugar samples. I have taken here samples that are maltose, lactose and sucrose. So I am going to apply it, and I will remember the sequence, or you can mark it. You can mark it as maltose M, L, lactose, sucrose S, like this. But here I am going to remember it, and I am leaving 1.5 centimeter distance from the bottom, because this is the distance required for a solvent to travel. Then now I am going to apply lactose. Each sample one by one. Then the sucrose. When I keep one drop, I will allow that drop to dry, and then another drop of a same sample I will spot. Also I am going to spot the mixture of all three carbohydrates together. I have taken a mixture of all carbohydrates together. That is our sample. Again I am repeating same sample application once again. To have a concentrated spot of our sample. Now sample application is over. Now I am going to keep this plate for development into the TLC chamber. I have kept this chamber for around 30 minutes for saturation. Now I have kept this TLC plate into the chromatographic chamber without wasting its saturation. Now plate is kept into the chamber. Allow the mobile phase to run onto the TLC plate. We should wait for that time. Now the chromatographic development is complete, as you can see into the chromatographic chamber. Now I am going to remove the plate Remove it carefully. Remove the plate from the chamber and keep it for air drying. Keep the plate for air drying. After air drying, I will spray it with the reagent, anisaldehyde reagent onto it, and then again I will keep into the oven till colorization occurs. Now we will keeping it for air drying. Now, see, this is how the colorization of chromatographic plate occurs by using anisaldehyde reagent. For sugars, you can see a violet colorization and light yellow colorization occurs for the carbohydrates. Now we determine the distance traveled from the solvent front. Now, for determination of RF value, I will suggest you to use butter paper and exactly same size butter paper you take and touch it from the back side of TLC. This is our front side, and at the back side you touch the butter paper. And now I will draw the circle which I found exactly same. Like this. You can take a photograph of this plate by using mobile and keep this for reference. Now what I will do, on this butter paper, I will color of the appropriate color which I observe, and then again I will draw the center of each spot, and I will measure the distance traveled by the solvent. I have already marked solvent front. So solvent front from the sample application line till the solvent travel on the TLC plate, and it is found to be 8.7 centimeter. Now I will determine similarly the distance traveled by each sample from the origin line. So I will determine distance traveled by each sample from the origin line. Also for the mixture spots. Then RF value of carbohydrate can be determined by using this formula. RF is equal to distance travelled by sample divided by distance travelled by solvent. So just now we have calculated the distance travelled by each sample spot and the distance travelled by solvent. So similarly, for all carbohydrates we can determine RF value, and we can correlate the RF value of mixture with the sample, and we can identify the unknown samples. Thank you.